Provo, Utah, baby. We did it right here. Provo, entertainment mecca. I love Utah a lot. For real, I do. Like, say what you will about Utah, but it is a place where you can safely judge a book by its cover. You can do that here. I saw a lady walking down the street wearing an ankle-length denim dress and don't know anything else about her, but it's a safe bet she homeschooled all 11 of her children. Okay, into it. Good crowd. I like Salt Lake especially. It's an interesting place, kind of city and country, kind of the worst of both. You know, like, where else are you gonna see a homeless guy peeing on a dead deer? Speaking of Utah, man, I was watching Jurassic Park, and you know what I learned? Those raptors are not velociraptors. Those are Utah raptors. That's true. Velociraptors, in reality, were little itty-bitty things like this. And what they used in the movie was Utah raptors, and I just think Steven Spielberg missed out on a big opportunity to make a movie where the dinosaurs break down your door and say, we're here to teach about the restored gospel of the Cretaceous period. You guys, I don't want to come here to Provo and big time everybody and act like some hot shot, but let's just get right to it, huh? Let's do it. Brand new track jacket, huh? What about it? Yeah, oh yeah, that's right. $8 at the swap meet. One step closer to achieving my dream of looking exactly like a Ukrainian ecstasy dealer. I just needed a kiosk at the mall where I spray people with cologne, even if they don't want me to. It's like 2 sprays and neck deep in babes all day, my big friend. Neck deep, that sounds too deep. I don't know. Very glad the war didn't ruin that joke. That was my big concern when the war broke out. If you want a sneak peek into how narcissistic comedians are, it's like, man, I hope this war doesn't ruin that joke. You guys, I don't want to be one of these comedians who says something triumphant just to get an applause break, but over the last couple years, I've put on about 40 pounds, huh? Yeah, thank you. Thank you. It wasn't easy, everybody. This is a whole series of bad decisions. You know, taking the escalator instead of the stairs and getting souffle instead of an onion sandwich or whatever non-fat people eat. But this is my 3rd time being fat. This is my 3rd go-around as a fat man, and I knew I was getting fat again when my mom told me it looks like I'm getting strong. That's what any good mom does for her fat son. She's like, Andy, it looks like you're getting strong. I wouldn't want to mess with you. You know what you could be? You could be an umpire. Well, all right, thank you, Ma. That's a weird insult towards umpires. I've actually lost 40 pounds. I don't know how much longer I'll be able to keep doing that joke. I'm losing weight, man. I've been going to the gym, you know, just eating right, exercising. I tell you what I haven't done is hired a life coach. Those people are a thing. That's a new thing out there. You don't need any education or qualifications of any kind. You just wake up one morning and say, I'm a life coach. And be willing to bombard people with incoherent optimism. Bumped into one at the gym, and he's like, you've been coming, you've been dedicated. I like that. You're the kind of person I want to work with. I want to be your inspiration and your motivation. I was like, okay, what do you do? He's like, what I do is I help boss studs like you take back their strength through mindful self-discovery. I'm like, okay, what does that mean? He's like, that is an amazing question. You are such a light. What I do is I use evidence-based research implementation techniques which maximize life momentum success principles. That's the essence of mindset growth development procedure. So what do you say, Andy? Are you ready to get abundant? Like, I think I'd rather just stay fat. I actually rather regain that 40 pounds, move back home, grow a ponytail, dye it black, and start a YouTube channel about swords. I'd rather be that guy than a guy with a life coach. All right, you guys are good. You guys are good. I like you. Let's get right to the heart of it, huh? Let's do it. Let's get real. Let's get to it, huh? I'm a recovering heroin addict. Anybody else? Are you? No. Okay. Well, since that guy came and stole all of my thunder, anybody not in recovery but currently actively addicted to heroin? Anybody? It is true. I'm a recovering addict, man. People are thrown when they hear it, which is understandable. I don't really look the part. This whole thing ain't really screaming heroin addict. I look more like Woody Harrelson with a thyroid problem or a middle-aged Cabbage Patch, but it's true. I got 12 years clean now, man, and yeah. Thank you. I just throw that in there when I want an applause break. It's true though, man, and I'm clean and sober now, and people think that I don't use drugs, that I'm like against drugs, which isn't true. You know, I think every drug has a practical use. Like alcohol is a great disinfectant, heroin is an amazing painkiller, meth is perfect for when you need to disassemble the lawnmower and use its blades to kill the goblins that live in the wall. Not every Kid Rock fan is necessarily a meth addict, but every meth addict is definitely a Kid Rock fan. Dude, I feel like we were getting the opioid epidemic under control until COVID came along and stole all of the attention. We were doing it. We got billboards up along the interstate. That'll do it. I wish those were around when I was a junkie, man. That would have stopped me, for sure. Just on my way to meet the dealer, and then I see a billboard. I'm like, I guess not today. My favorite is the billboard. There's a billboard that just says, heroin is an opiate. Are there people out there disputing that? Like, is there some group out there like, no, it's not true. Heroin's a fruit. The prevailing medical wisdom now is that addiction is a disease. That's what they're saying. You know, it's kind of weird to think of it as a disease. What do you guys think? Yes, no, you can be honest, you know? Yeah, more and more people are saying, yeah, it's true, it's good. People are getting to be understand. You know, it's a tough one. Like the people who say it's a disease, they have like 5 PhDs, and the people who say it's not a disease, they have like a favorite wrestler. So, who do you listen to, man? The job I wanted most when I was in active addiction, no kidding, is I wanted to be a cop, like a detective. Because I was watching Law and Order and all those crime scene shows. I'm like, man, if you're a cop, you can do any drug you want, just as long as you do it with your fingertip and then let everybody know about the drug you just did. Have you ever seen that on those crime scene shows? They're always like, cocaine. It's like, yo, man, did you just do the cocaine? You don't got to keep doing the cocaine. We got testing kits for that. It's like, this is the only women who arts bureau. Grant for the cop for 20 years, really? Whoa. Take it easy, officer. All right, let's switch gears a little bit. Who's on a date tonight? Who's enjoying a nice romantic evening here at the Dry Bar? Outstanding. I recently got off the market. I'm in a relationship now, which, and my gal actually quite attractive. I'm not trying to brag, just a huge bonus, because that was not a qualification. I was very much in the take whatever I can get category. 2 sizes too big, Tweety Bird shirt, gas station scrunchie, homemade pants, swipe right, honey, let's talk. The kind of gal who wears her Cookie Monster pajamas to the dollar store. That's what I was. One of the last dates I had, though, the gal was very, very into astrology. Any astrology fans here tonight? Yeah? Yeah. It's not real. Other than that, it's cool. We sat down. Here's how our conversation went verbatim. She's like, okay, so you're a Virgo. No. A Pisces? No. A Libra? No. A Taurus? No. A Scorpio? No. A Capricorn? No. A Cancer? No. A Leo? Yes. I knew it! Okay. Big double standard in dating, though, there is. You know, it's not fair. How come a guy can go out and he can get all the ladies he wants and he's a stud, but if a woman goes out and does the same thing, she's a lesbian? Ho. Okay, there we go. Little zinger. No, I didn't say that. I said ho as in ho, 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 not the slang. That lady covered her mouth. Oh boy, it's dry bar. Okay. Watch it, Andy. That was a double meaning. That one, everybody. You guys are a good crowd, though. I like it, man. You're keeping it real. That's all I want, dude. I just want people to keep it real, you know? I was at Jiffy Lube, and I said to the guy, I go, conventional oil is all I need. And he says to me, I concur. You concur? Nobody says concur. You want to know who says concur? People named Geoffrey. That's who says concur, okay? Your name's Rusty, you have an eyebrow ring, okay? You hear something you agree with, you just say, I heard that, and try not to spit your Copenhagen on my shit, okay? Love being a comedian, man. I do. Didn't always used to be a comedian, of course. I used to work at a produce stand. It's my family business. I'm not trying to brag, but yeah, we had a produce stand. My dad hooked me up with a job working at the family produce stand when I first got clean, when I'm right out of rehab, you know? And our number one kinds of customers were like really, really old people. Okay, I don't mean like, you know, recently retired 65-year-olds like the lovely front row. I mean like 95, and I'm like going through post-acute withdrawals. I'm grumpy. I'm in no position to do customer service. And again, I don't mean like 65-year-old recently retired. I mean like 95-year-old hairless cat-looking monsters who would come into the produce stand, bottom jaw, always shivering, just... And then they would touch all the fruit, just... and then not buy it, which is fine if you don't want to buy it, but please don't drag your horrifying, veiny, translucent poltergeist hands all over the peaches. Some people want to buy the fruit without having to worry about catching scrum pox or yellow jacket fever or whatever other horrifying Oregon Trail disease you're carrying. Mildred. Okay, that was mean. That was pretty mean. That was not a nice. Let's lighten it up, okay? Let's talk more about heroin. There's a lot of self-righteous people in the recovery world, man. Big time. Which is weird because we used to be such scoundrels, but then you meet people in the recovery world and they're totally self-righteous. I did this show where we would travel all around the country doing shows for people in recovery with other comedians in recovery. And one of the comedians I was with, he was like 30 years sober, and we were in Denver where weed is legal. And I say to the guy, I go, man, they're selling weed everywhere here. And he says to me, I'm to the point in my recovery where I don't even notice stuff like that anymore. That's amazing. I can't wait to get so healthy that I'm no longer able to read signs. Just gonna walk out of the woman's bathroom like, don't worry, I got 30 years sober. I do travel around doing comedy, and I am from here in Utah. What do you think the first question is I get when I tell people I'm from Utah?
Where? Are you LDS?
Are you LDS? No, nobody asks where. Yeah. Are you Mormon? How many? Yeah, the whole thing. You know, it gets old. I came up Mormon. I didn't go too far with it, though, because heroin. But I'm still defensive of it, man. I'm still defensive of it. You know, I was in Chicago, and a guy picked me up from the airport, and he's like, where are you from? And I say, Utah. And he's like, oh, let me stop you. And I'm like, no, let me stop you. No to everything you're about to ask me, okay? No, I don't have 10 wives. No, I don't wear magic underwear. No, I don't know what planet God lives on. Just shut up, you predictable basic hack, okay? And then he's like, well, I was just gonna ask if you ski. This lady loves it. Into it. Got it. Oh, that's a wonderful laugh. That's a good squeaky laugh. Into it. Congratulations. Well, everybody, exciting news. First-time home buyer right here. First-time home buyer. Yeah. The market right now, holy dog mess. The market is absolutely bananas. And I make a modest living, you know? So when the realtor was showing me around, I wasn't hearing stuff like, look at the beautiful spacious floor plan, or notice all of the natural light. I was hearing stuff like, okay, about after an hour, you don't even notice the smell. The smell came from a triple homicide. It is haunted, but 2 priests and a witch doctor came and blessed it, so you should be good. Okay, no plumbing, 500 square feet, but that's why it's only 700 grand. Oh. That's great. Nah, you guys are a good crowd. Very, very into it for sure. I like it, man. I like to talk to people after the show sometimes. You know, the worst thing about being sober, though, is definitely talking to drunk people. Just like I dig doing the dry bar. You know, it's nice to have an audience that's like attentive. Because I do a lot of clubs, you know, and even if you're not in recovery, if you've ever been sober and you're talking to a drunk person, it's the worst. I was doing a show and I was stuck in the lounge and this drunk guy cornered me after the show and he's like, hey, yo, funny guy. Being a comedian, huh? You get a lot of tell doing that? I was like, not really, dude. I just tell my jokes and go home. He's like, oh, but doing heroin though, huh? You get a lot of tell doing that? I was like, dude, what? You're making me uncomfortable, dude. What's your story? What do you do? And he's like, oh, well, I work the night shift at an active seniors community. I'm like, all right. You get a lot of tell doing that? What? Okay. When I was first starting comedy, a booker who books a club said to me, you know what you should do, Andy? You should use you words when you're doing your act. You know, it'll help the audience identify with you. You should be like, have you ever noticed, or don't you hate it when? I'm like, okay, that's a little hard for me because my whole act is about being a recovering heroin addict. You know, I can't just come out and be like, don't you hate it when you wake up in the morning and you're going through withdrawals and you have no money and you have no dope, so now you have to pawn your niece's tricycle. But then the dealer isn't answering his phone, so before you know it, you've passed out in a JCPenney parking lot after huffing a bunch of embalming fluid. Don't you hate it when that happens? Mondays, am I right? All right, you guys are cool. You're handling the dark stuff pretty well. Appreciate it, man. Handling the dark stuff pretty well. Only got a few minutes left. It's almost time for me to get out of here. I'll tell you guys a quick story, real quick. So I got clean in 2009. I had a fatal overdose in my parents' house. Temporarily. I survived. They intervened in the hospital. I went to treatment, went to IOP, and got clean and started doing comedy about 6 months after I got clean, 12 years ago. And when I first started doing comedy, every once in a while, somebody would come up to me after the show and talk to me about a friend or family member they had that was going through it, and how it was great to see me clean and doing comedy. And as the years have progressed and as the opioid epidemic has accelerated, it's happening all of the time, almost every show now. And sometimes when I'm doing like interviews and what have you, people are like, you know, how does it feel? Do you like being an inspiration to people. And I'm like, no, I just want to be funny, trying to be cool. But the fact is, man, when I was still going through it and I was still using, the thing that helped me get there was seeing other people who had gotten clean. So thanks to Dry Bar for coming and letting me do this. It's kind of a tough sell, family-friendly comedy about heroin addiction. Yeah. But I really appreciate you guys coming and letting me do this. I know it's different, so thank you very much. I appreciate it. And yeah. And I gotta cut. And it was clean. It was clean. It was fine. I haven't always worked clean. I kind of like coming to the Dry Bar. It's an interesting, creative challenge. I mean it. My dad once found some material of mine that wasn't too clean. Confronted me about it. My dad's very LDS. It's like, Andy, your mother and I found some of your talent skits in the glove box, and you had a bunch of. Ugh. Well, I'm not going to say what we found, but we were mortified. Is that something you learned watching The Simpsons? What are you going to do about this, son? I just dusted off an old excuse from my junkie days. I'm like, Dad, those aren't even my jokes. I'm just holding them for a friend. Thank you very much, everybody. I've been Andy Gold.